Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Scholars, we're back with a green screen. That's right. We're back with the green screen. I'm just kind of cranking this out because I just got done eating, and we're gonna do some live streaming later to do some Chestiny. But first, we've got to talk about some changes coming to Destiny for the mid-season updates and whatnot. Yesterday during the video, you saw a man die, a 9-month subscriber who decided he was going to be very hostile. And listen, I've had a lot of people who are hostile, and I don't do anything with them because I just farm them. Like, you see me just having quick comebacks and, you know, trolling people. Just ignore them. I'm just farming them. You know, algorithm boosters is what I call them. But when you have someone that comes into your chat who they've watched you for like almost a year, and just because you say one thing that they didn't like about a game, like Oblivion, I was talking about Oblivion Remastered when I was talking about Marathon and how Marathon, the alpha, was doing horrible compared to like Oblivion, which is like a 20-year-old game with just some improved graphics. And that is essentially what it is. That's verbatim. They didn't change anything. They didn't add anything. They just made it look really gorgeous. And I'm sorry that I didn't glaze it. You know, I didn't say Oblivion, the greatest looking game, so clear, so clean that you could go to the Imperial Capital and smell the sweat off the balls of the Imperial Guards. But I'm sorry. I literally just said a quick tagline because it wasn't even about Oblivion. It was about Marathon. And he got very hostile and upset, and I just banned him. I'm just, you're fake fan. Now, let's talk about King. Again, we've got a farm. I'm going to these are the comments I deal with. We're going to farm it. We talked about the Elite Collector's Edition and how, we're getting less digital content. And so that means my argument was if they're not going to boost the physical quality of the collector's item and boost it up, this could be a scam, especially since it's the same price as the final shape, but you're getting less. So we got, let's farm Bungie's PR nightmare because of Marathon for ad rev. Just miserable, big and ugly for no reason. By the way, you can tell this person is an absolute glut 5,000 of Bungie. Absolutely sucking the dong. The price is definitely big and ugly for no reason. The flat Bungie earns is a 100,000% earn. Again, collector edition, you dunce. Yes, I don't know what people realize that I've literally been around since the beta. I know what a collector's edition is. I don't know why people are so stupid. Comes with physical things along with the game. Don't like it? Don't buy it. What's not clicking? I don't see any other videos in your account for other game devs for doing the same thing. Again, you're farming and ad rev while virtue signaling. It's hilarious. Actually, I did a video about Nintendo's prices and the games. I absolutely dumpstered them. Ubisoft a while ago, before they changed it, was a god-awful charging like some absurd amount of money. Called them out. So no, I did. And that's pretty much what I said. I do understand your page is nothing but hate towards Bungie and Destiny. If you take this energy and apply it to your real life, you wouldn't be as miserable. Just a thought. Grown man sitting on YouTube complaining every single day about a video game. Comical. I love this comment when people think that they've got like this moral high ground, like, haha, I got you. And then I give the Uno reverse card. By the way, they shut the hell up because I literally got their ass. I have a full-time job in life. I do. Try again, kiddo. I love it when people talk about me being on YouTube. It's a hobby, but it's not my life. And complain, I'm the happiest ever. I am in my own house. Funny, you're a grown man watching a video on YouTube, complaining on said video about a video game in the comment section. You played yourself. The virtual signaling is hilarious. How are you going to try to virtual signal and call someone else out when I get paid and you don't? You played it. Now keep beating the Algo basement dweller. The biggest loser here is you. I get paid for your comments. You don't. When I say that is that he boosts the Algo and he shut up afterwards. And I love that. I love putting people in their place. Like, it is satisfying to shut a Bungie ball fondler up because when they lose the argument, they immediately go into something that has nothing to do with the conversation. We're talking about the collector's edition. And then when I argue against it and I bring logical feedback, they're like, oh, you're just grown man on YouTube. Bitch, get out of here. I'm farming your ass for content now. I love it. I love it, man. All right. By the way, you know what I also love is that we have, you know, this Destiny. If you go back, right? Bungie did their page, Marathon, Destiny. Why is there so much about Marathon? And why do we load more news? Why is there more news about Marathon than Destiny? Like, bro, you have to be down ass bad if you have to advertise your other game when you specifically said you're splitting the two intentionally to maintain consistency. But all I see is a bunch of Marathon shit. I'm sorry, I just find that funny. So we're gonna skim through this. The Chesney trailer. Next week, I will be actually partaking in the reveal. All this, we're skipping. No one gives a shit about everything else. No one gives a shit about that. Let's talk about the updates. So they're doing a lot of changes to try to help Crucible. Though, let's be honest, anyone that knows anything about the Crucible knows that cheating is a massive problem and it's only gotten worse. And until they deal with the cheaters, I don't think anyone really cares. Now, it has been a massive bitch fest about Redrix, RDM'S, and Hunters, because Hunters are always invisible, which is kind of funny. They did a poll about Marathon and the most used was Void, who's also invisible. It's almost like Bungie never learns, but here we are. So they're making some changes to try to make Crucible better. Whether that, I don't think, based on what I've seen, a lot of it is negative because they've kind of just made things worse, which is kind of funny. So Prismatic, they're like, hey, no one's using Prismatic anymore. They're just using, well, an invisible, you know, Hunter and then Void Shield Titan. You know, the same thing everyone's been using in Trials and Comp. So we're going to try to make Prismatic a little bit more favorable. You get your super a little bit faster. We took 5% off the penalty. I don't know why it has a penalty in the first place when the kits are pretty well established. Like Prismatic is fantastic in PvE, but the general kits are better in PvP, like subclass like Void, Arc, well, maybe not Arc, but like Void and then Solar. That's kind of it. Sky Signal is such a bitch. It's getting 15% reduction. It is so annoying when they just throw it in there and you die. It's like, ah, cool. On the Prowl, people hate it. I don't use it in PvE. It's not that good in my opinion, especially if you're a Hunter, Gerfalcons. Like, let's be honest. If you're playing Hunter, you're not playing support. No one who gives a shit about making bubbles of invisibility for your friends when you could just go infinitely invisible for like Gerfalcons or Omnioculus, right? I think On the Prowl is better with Omnioculus, but Gerfalcons, it makes it almost a redundant fragment. But they're reducing it in PvP. The range of your prey, 25 meters. And instead of having the hunt time infinite, it's now 15 seconds. Warlock. Lightning Surge is a bitch. And it's also inconsistent. Sometimes you're dead, and sometimes you're alive when you get hit with it. So they're changing the Lightning Surge against players, the variability, and they're increasing the minimal damage and reducing the maximum, which they don't actually tell you how much they're reducing of the maximum damage. Why? I don't know. Hunter, Withering Blades suck ass. So they're buffing them in PvE and PvP. They do 20% more damage, or at least the tracking does is 20% more, and they're going to do 10% more damage. I still think it needs more love, but throwing knives apparently are another thing in the game that have not been working. The tracking sucks, so they're fixing it. They're increasing the tracking shape by 10% and the strength by 20. And then Fan of Knives, Solar and Prismatic, increase it by 15%. On the prowl. So they're double. I didn't even notice that they're double hitting it. Yeah. Yeah. On the prowl is getting hit twice. Assassinations now provide an instant bump. Oh, no, it's a buff. So essentially you would slowly get the energy, but now you get it instantly and they reduce the cooldown in PvE. So they're like, hey, this needs more love in PvE and it needs to be nerfed in PvE. I still don't think it's necessarily as, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Gerfalcons is still pretty free, even in Grandmasters. Lightning Surge, they're increasing the follow-up melee suppression time after Lightning Surge to match Shoulder Charge and other similar abilities. Okay. The bread and butter, the things that you care about, that I care about, the weapons. Legacy frames. I want you to know that I love legacy frames. There is nothing more satisfying than using the battle rifle in Destiny. It is phenomenal. I love it. But I know it's too good. There are kills that I have gotten that I know I did not deserve. And hip firing, the fantasy of hip firing is immaculate. And for some reason, Destiny players don't like hip firing. I think hip firing is fine if the range is not absurd. But when you have a jack of all trades weapon that can hit you from long range, close range, that just does it all, something has to die. And we can see at the high levels, which I agree, playing Trials, and you know, I don't play comp. Playing Trials, it matches the success rate of Rose and aggressive hand cannons. Like, they are literally at the top. Rose and aggressive hand cannons are just overly, they're strong. Which I imagine once people, you know, start feeling the effects of the nerf to legacy frames and RDM'S and whatever, people are going to ask for a nerf to Rose and aggressive hand cannons. It's going to happen. I'm telling you now, it's going to happen. People are going to request it. Now, whether it actually is done, that's a different story. And I'm not asking for it, by the way. It's not hard to fight a hand cannon user. It's annoying, but it's not hard. However, in middle and lower skill lobbies, it's pretty much just the jack of all trades. Yeah. I want you to understand that very rarely do we ever see graphs for anything besides PvP, because Bungie knows, like, when Bungie says they're going to buff the drop rate of something, they never give you a percentage. Like in Court of Blades, they said they buff the drops of adepts and never give you a percentage. And they never give you a graph of like how many drops people are getting compared. You know, they never do none of that. But for PvP, they just formulate so many freaking graphs to try to showcase why your opinion doesn't matter. You don't know the game. We do. We're not going to do everything you tell us to do. I think it's funny. Every time I see a graph from Bungie, I just can't take it seriously, because everyone also sits there and looks at it and is like, I press F to doubt. So now they're reducing the aim down sight damage fall off by 0.01. This reduces the damage fall off scalar from 1.7 to 1.6, matching high impact pulses. Increase the airborne effectiveness by 1021. Yeah, if it's 21 and you could build into airborne, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know why. Yeah, okay. So rapid fires are getting a buff. Hot. I love rapid fires. Oh, I'm so excited for rapid fires. They're increasing damage to 15 and precision damage to 27.8. I don't know if the 0.2 matters in terms of forgiveness. I guess it'll matter, but their optimal kill, I don't know. We'll have to see. Hand cannons, heavy burst, have sucked ass. And Bungie realizes it, so they're doing nothing but buffing the damage fall off by 1 point. Like, it's making it 1.6 times. I think it needs more love than that. Honestly, no one uses heavy burst. Adaptive Judgment. It's getting some love because it's coming back. I always wanted to like Judgment. The biggest problem that I found with Judgment is that it looked clunky and it felt clunkier. And the fact that the mag size was god awful. So it's starting at 11. The reload is going to 45. I think this thing needs to be cracked up to 50. But the handling is getting a 55. So this should feel a lot better. And hopefully with different mod, like with the enhanced mods that we can put on it, and just I think you can also get adept versions, right? I don't remember. Either way, enhanced mods and then just all the different perks. This thing could feel pretty good for a stasis hand cannon. I really want them to introduce a new stasis perk that isn't chill clip, because I know they'll never put a chill clip perk on a primary. I need something comparable that can be used to stun champions like chill clip. Auto rifles. I love this because I love using what is the Iron Banner Strand auto rifle. I'll pull it out for Iron Banner specifically, but I also play it with 6s because it's really fun. They're increasing high impacts by 4%, making it 24 to the head, or sorry, body, and then 43.2 to the critical. Precisions. Precision, sorry. This is a second partial reduction of the damage reduction given to them several seasons ago. So this is focused on just body shots. So it's increased precision 3%, body shot 20, critical 34. Oh, those are the, so precision and high impact. Those are two different types. Yeah, precisions, they need a little buff. I think auto rifles are definitely getting washed under the bridge because of pulse rifles. And then hand cannons are also aggressive. Some machine guns also feel bad. Adaptives are getting a buff. I still don't think this is going to do enough to make adaptives viable. I just don't. Shotguns, heavy burst slug, 8% damage. I don't know if that's going to make people use them, but here we go. Weapon perks. So we're talking about traits. They're now changing the one quiet moment, which I thought was incredibly pointless. Now has 2 stacks, one that activates 1 second out of being combat for 50% of the bonus, and the other at 2 seconds. Like you have to be out, you're just out of combat, which I feel like is counterproductive to what you want to do. So being able to earn at least 50% of the bonus when in a second, at least that's good. Especially if sometimes you go to a next fight within a second. So I like that. Alacrity now activates a reduced effectiveness whenever a teammate dies. Reaches maximum effectiveness when 2 or more teammates are currently dead. I like this because alacrity, you want to love it. And I'm sure it's really strong. Even Bungie realizes like, hey, this is one of our stronger PvP, you know, traits, but half the time you never fucking use it. Now you can, it will make you want to use this trait for trials weapons, because most trial weapons are doo-doo with this trait. All right, exotic weapon updates. Lord of Wolves getting a nerf by 30% hip fire. We knew this was going to happen. If you didn't see this happen, I don't know what to tell you. You live in La La Land. Risk Runner. Zoom by a point. We're really out here making changes. And who the fuck is supposed to get excited for a fucking 0.1 zoom? Truth and Two-Tailed Fox might actually get used somewhere, specifically PvP, because you'll get 2 rockets instead of 1. I still think they won't be used because who gives a shit when you can use an LMG to get guaranteed 2 to 3 kills, depending on what you're doing. Some people can kill an entire team or half of team, you know, at least 3 people. It's not hard, especially once you get killing tally or anything else start ramping up, you can chain some kills. But there are times where I would like to use a rocket to just burst shot something instantly and kill them like a super. So we'll see. I just, Two-Tailed Fox seems too slow. And Truth, the tracking needs to be more aggressive in my opinion. I don't think they ever will, specifically because of Gambit. Though I'd say screw Gambit. Just let them fry in Gambit. Alethium. Creating a special brick now costs 50% energy instead of 100%. Rewarded the trait to be less confusing. Finality's Augur. I said if they were to buff some of this stuff, this would be a lot better exotic. I think it's a good exotic. It's a fun exotic. It's not meta, and I'm not out here using this for like any form of DPS at all. I did not realize that the duration, like I never paid attention, but the duration of the painted target doesn't last the same duration as the turret, which explains why sometimes my turret would just do nothing. And I'm like, why do I have to keep painting this? It never connected the dots in my brain. Environmental targets. Now anything that enters it will also get tagged and shot at, which is great. It automatically reloads from reserves after deploying a turret. That is so good because there's nothing more annoying than if you want to use a turret and then do DPS at the same time. You would have to stop to reload. Now you can seamlessly do DPS with the turret and the actual linear fusion rifle, which is hot. Especially if you're trying to proc bait and switch. Turret self-damage. I guess it was blowing itself up. If you didn't hover too high up the ground, it could blow itself up. And then the turret damage does 10% more, which is great. I personally think the turret should last longer. I said, don't increase the damage, increase the duration that the turret stays up. That's my honest opinion. I think that's all it needs to be done. Exotic armor. People have been begging for Radiant Dance Machines to be nerfed. And Bungie is doing that. They're nerfing it, reduce accuracy bonus for standard weapons by 60%. I don't know what standard means unless it means exotics, which means exotics are going to be custom tuned. Reduce aim assist fall off distance by 60%. So you're only getting 30% increase. Further reduce the accuracy bonus for custom tuned exotics, including last word, by additional 25%. So if it's 60, so you're only getting like 50% increase. As a note, based on the feedback we've received from mouse and keyboard players using last word with RDM'S, we are looking into tuning the specific penalties for that input device down a bit in the future patch to make the weapon more useful without requiring exotic. Yes. Last word sucks ass. It is one of the shittiest hand cannon exotics in the game. They murdered it. I don't know why they don't just let you aim down sight with it and still get the benefit of it. It's literally a shotgun, except you have to put the work into actually using it appropriately because a shotgun will still molest you. So and we also live in a world where fusion rifles can still map you. I just don't understand why people have a hate boner for last word. I don't understand. Although Dodge uptime is lower on RDMs, that is with some other exotics, yada yada. Reduce the amount of energy refunded for defeats against players. It's going to be 20%, along with the upper tier of the strategist perk. So 20%. So we have all these nerfs. They also treated the bonus you get like that of hipfire grip instead of the actual legacy frame intrinsic. So that it's a separate nerf. So they're not outright nerfing the intrinsic perk itself. They're just nerfing the exotic. But wait, what has everyone pissed off? They thought, you know what? People love RDMs. Let's give it to everyone. They gave it to Lion Rampants, which is probably the most annoying fucking thing they could do. Because one of the most annoying things that this thing does is enables people to fly around the map. And now that's what people are going to do even more. They're just going to sit there float with Lion Rampants. But it's primaries only. Who doesn't care? We're about to have Yeehaw Cowboys in the air again. And it's always active. Holy shit. And Luna faction boots. They nerfed the range that empowering rifts give from Luna faction boots in PvP. So shotguns and slugs are now worse. But now you can float in the fucking sky and get your yeehaw on like everyone else. Or you could just camp in or in your rift, in your healing rift, like what everyone else was going to do anyways. Everyone's just going to sit there and heal and hip fire from across the map. Holy smokes. We're getting new weapons. We're getting a lightweight scout rifle solar. Don't think anyone cares. The Inquisitor's a shotgun. Actually pretty interesting. Slug shotguns are a huge learning curve. But this thing is getting closing time and lone wolf. And even though they nerfed closing time, this thing's still going to be fucking immaculate. You also use threat detector. I'm telling you right now, this thing's going to be jacked. I am very curious on jolting feedback because one of the issues that I have with shotguns is that why do I care about using a shotgun? I'm not going to use it for ad clear, but jolting feedback for champions, you're doing chunk of damage against a champion and you're stunning champions. I'm sorry. Pair that like loose change or even slide shot jolting feedback. I'm just sliding, shooting champions, sliding, shooting champions. I'm doing chip damage. Also, it applies to bosses. So you can just have a, like, this is what, unironically, one of the few shotguns that I would actually use in a Grandmaster. So I actually kind of want that slide shot opening shot, or sorry, slide shot jolting feedback. It sounds disgusting to me. Cruel Mercy, probably the best weapon we're getting outside of like Rights of the Nine. It's a arc heavy burst rifle, and it's Amalon, which means it's going to have hopefully good reloading. In general, Amalon heavy bursts are the best damaging pulse rifles in the game. And this thing has God's greatest deluxe edition of like perks that I would want. But none of it matters because I only want this in PvE. Jolting feedback, Dragonfly for killing champions or stunning champions, killing trash ads and doing boss DPS. It literally could do it all. Demolitionist, so I can use it for grenade builds. Arc, 80 current, again, arc. 4 times the charm, just sit there, pelting away at bosses and champions, not having to reload. You know, I don't usually use keep away in PvE, but hey, keep away for the fast reload, especially if the reload is ass. That's pretty good too. But I'm actually stoked for some of these weapons, at least 2 of the 3. I don't think anyone gives a shit about scout rifles, especially since they just buffed Vault of Glass. And I forgot what the Vault of Glass scout rifle. Oh my God, I keep thinking Praetorius, but it's not. Anyways, I got the God roll that I wanted with Dragon, Firefly, Incandescent, or no, was it Firefly, Explosive Payload? Either way, it is better than this shit. I don't need it. And that's it. That is your week in Destiny. I try to summarize as much as possible. Listen, I don't think Bungie's ever going to satisfy the PvP community. They're just going to continue to give you charts and say you're wrong. And that's the way you're going to have to live. It is insane. It is insane. We'll see how they balance Marathon out. It's obvious that they care a lot more about it than they do about the damn fucking game that they're currently advertising. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good one. Let me know what you think about the changes. I'm more excited for the new weapons than I am the changes, man. I'm just also prepared for everyone to be in the sky yeehawing. Or sorry, Titans and Warlocks are going to be in the sky. Hunters are still going to be invisible. But it's going to be the most cluster. I can only imagine Trials, man. Just be ready to look always in the sky. I see a bird. I see a plane. It's a fucking Titan going by.